Hello, Cracking Code with Dave. So you have a Mac computer. For some reason, you have to use a Mac computer and you are confused about it. This is the video for you. This is my overview of switching from Windows to Mac. If you're new to the Mac, let's do this. Okay, so let me close all my windows here, and I'm here with my Mac computer. And the first thing we'll look at is this top bar here. And this top bar kind of changes based on what application you have selected. But when you have nothing selected up here, then it shows you the Apple icon here. And this Apple icon is important because it gets you to your system preferences. About this Mac, I'll tell you a little bit about the computer you're using. So if someone asks you, what's your processor, what's your memory, and also what's your operating system, it shows you that stuff. System preferences is important. Let's go there first. Opening up system preferences. Now you see here's the interface, and you'll notice the little red dot up here right away. This is to close the window. This is to minimize the window, and then sometimes there's a green one here, and that's to maximize the window. In this case, this menu kind of is fixed and can't be maximized. So why is this page important? Well, it's got stuff like your mouse. Like first thing you're going to use to travel around is probably a mouse, and you probably want to click on the mouse to get it all set up the way you like it. If you like the scroll natural, so like you're pulling down a piece of paper, then you check this box here. If you're weird like me and you like the scroll inverted, like you're flying a helicopter, then uncheck that. Make sure the secondary click is turned on. And depending on your mouse, you may or may not see these settings. So depending on the mouse you're using, you might see different settings, and you adjust these gestures and effects based on your mouse. You also adjust your tracking speed here, so you can make it move slower, like across the screen. If you're doing like some, I guess, architectural design, or pretty speedy, like I like it pretty fast. That way I don't have to move my wrist too much to scroll from the top to the bottom. So get your mouse all dialed in first. That'll make it more comfortable for you. Moving on. Yeah, there's a bunch of settings here, like network settings. You might have to click on that if you got to join the Wi-Fi or join your wired network that way. Maybe you need to adjust some network settings. Maybe you need to set up a printer. I'm sure there's all kinds of videos for that. The other thing to check out is, your wallpaper. Get your computer to look exactly the way you want it. Maybe you want a different color for the wallpaper, or you want a picture. That usually comes with a bunch of fancy pictures like live photos and stuff. I'm gonna back out of this. You'll see I'm navigating here with the forward and backward, like a little, kind of like a browser. You can go back, and in this case I'm at the home, so I can't go back anymore. I'm at the system preferences that I opened. I can't go back any further, and so I'm moving on. Well, we'll be back here later. You might use this to adjust your Bluetooth settings or your sound settings as well, just to get things dialed in. So that is overview of system preferences really quick. The other one is really important, is App Store, right? So you've got all these apps that ship with your computer, but now let's say you're taking my course and you need Xcode. So you come up here to the Apple, click on App Store, and this brings up like Apple's App Store. These are approved apps through Apple, so you can be pretty confident that they're gonna not pass a virus onto your computer. So I'm going to search for an app in the App Store just by up here in the corner here, typing in Xcode, and here it is, Xcode. Now normally you would see this Get button to get and download the app, but in this case I already have it downloaded, so it says Update. Let's say I want to get something like Pages. I already have that too. Well, you'll see down here, Document Writer, Get. You click Get. You may or may not need to sign into an Apple account. If you do, sometimes that's maybe, I don't know if you have to do it for free apps. But you just have to create an Apple ID. It's free, and it just it's important because that way if you get a new Mac, then it remembers kind of your settings for your old Mac. And so this is where you would download your apps from, the App Store. Now, once you download the apps, it's like, where do they go? Let's look at the Finder. So the Finder is this smiley face weird thing down here with the blue and the white, and the Finder is always open. You can tell it's always open and running because there's a little dot underneath it. See that little dot down there? That means it's open and running. You'll see I have a couple apps running already. This one is Screencast-O-Matic. It's got a little dot there, Chrome, and I have a WebEx application that's running as well, and Terminal. So I got a bunch of things running. Let's say I don't need Terminal. I'm going to close this out. So there it is. I'm actually going to right-click over it. So if you right-click, over it. And check your mouse settings if this doesn't work. You right click, you can just quit there. The other way you can quit is, you see, once terminal is selected, once the application is selected, see the top menu here changed. And you can go up here to terminal, quit terminal. The other way you can do that is you can just click this red thing, right? But then you'll notice, like, look, the app is still running down here. So Mac is kind of weird in that it keeps running your application until you specifically tell it to close the app. So even though I don't have any terminal windows open, the app is still running in the background. So that's why you want to right click and quit, or you want to quit terminal up in the top there. Just to, once that dot's gone, then it's not hogging your resources of your computer. The other thing you can do is to customize this bar down here. I know we were going to talk about applications. For instance, I actually don't use TeamViewer. Like, I don't know why it's here. So I'm going to click and drag it off the dock. You can do that. That just removes the shortcut. Now that doesn't remove the application. Watch. Boop. You can also like right click and remove from dock, and another way too. I see. You can probably only remove things from the dock if they're not running. Yeah. So remove from dock. That's another way to get it off your dock here. This is called your dock, this, quick shortcut thing down here. At the very end of the dock is the trash bin. So these are just shortcuts to applications. But where do the applications actually live? Let's open up the Finder. Okay, so Finder is cool. And on the left-hand side here, you've got kind of like shortcuts. And on the right-hand side, you've got like the details of what's inside these shortcuts. So there is something missing from here, from mine, and that is my home directory, right? It's got some stuff here. Recent applications are right here, actually, if that was what we were wondering. The applications are in this folder, but yeah, where does that folder actually exist? So let's like set up Finder so it kind of shows us more. So I'm going to go up here to Finder, Preferences, and let's see what we got here. In the general preferences, I wanted to show these things, sure. I want the new Finder window though. I want it to show my home directory. See this little house here, this little house icon? I'm going to select that one. And don't worry about this. This is just what my computer, my login is, my username is, something like that. Because I work for a college and they give me undecipherable usernames. So now if I close that out and I create a new Finder window, boop, now it shows my actual user directory here. And here is my user directory. Now you can look at these in different ways. There's this this view, this grid view kind of thing, and this table view kind of thing here, and multiple, kind of table views. I'm sure there's fancy names for this, whatever it's called. Let's see here. Show item. In a list, a column, or a gallery. Okay, this is the gallery view, I suppose. And so you can kind of customize your view to your preferences. But what I wanted to show you is this view here. Let's look at this and see, this is where applications are. There's this little triangle here, and that usually means that if you click it again, it'll drop down. Boop. And you'll see, uh-oh, where's my applications? They're not even there. Well, that's a little bit misleading, right? Because I didn't install any applications from my account specifically. See? But there are applications globally for all users that use this computer. So you can use this button here to find the actual applications. And so there's a bunch of applications here. Like, remember I moved TeamViewer off the board there, off the dock there. And so here it is down here. It still exists on my computer. If you want to really delete the app, then you just drag it to the trash, let go, and it dumps the app. And then you can empty your trash by right-clicking Empty Trash. But in this case, let's say I said, oh no, I actually need TeamViewer. I actually need that one. You can click and drag it to the dock here, and that'll create a shortcut to that application again. But I don't, so I'm going to remove it from the dock again. Okay. So this is the applications folder. This is where the actual apps are. Then we've also talked about your user profile, which I don't know why it's not showing there. So I'm going to go ahead and go into Finder here, Preferences, Sidebar. And yeah, I wanted to show the home folder there. So I put a little check there. And why not just have it show this stuff too? Yeah, have it show all that stuff. Okay. And there's some other settings here you can fiddle with, but that's what I wanted to see, is I want to see the home thing here. There it is. and I want it to change so that when I open up the Finder, it just kind of opens up my home folder here, because most of your stuff is going to go in your downloads and your documents on your desktop. Like those are the most of the places you're going to find your stuff. Unless you're making movies or music, those are other locations that they're going to put your files and stuff. Now let's say you wanted like a super shortcut, like I've got this class I'm taking, and let's say these are your student files there, and you want a shortcut to that. You could click and drag that over here. Don't drag it on one of these, but drag it between one of these and let go, and boom, now you've got like shortcuts there as well. So Finders is kind of like File Explorer for Windows, right? The other thing you could do is you could also drag this shortcut down. I believe you can drag it down, yeah, down here, and then it's like on the dock. Kind of cool. That's kind of a neat trick too. And now let's talk about, we got these 3 buttons up here, right? Red is to close the window, but we learned it's just closing the window, not the application. Yellow, it minimizes it. Boop, it goes down here in the corner. So you can click it again to maximize it. So minimize, and then you find it, maximize. And this green one is to like make it full screen, right? Now, when you make things full screen, it's awesome. It looks great. But now let's say we got to get to the Finder again. That's gone, you know, and the green button is not there anymore. Well, that's because you went full screen. So if you hover up here just by the top window, see, boop, it comes down. And that's how you exit full screen, with this, clicking this green one again. If you are full screen and you have multiple things in full screen, you can swipe sideways like this with 2 fingers. So 2 finger swipes. That's the other thing I need to mention is scrolling up and down. Like, you know, if you're coming from a Windows computer, like where's the scroll bar over here? Well, on a Mac, it is using your finger to kind of swipe up and down. Sometimes it's 2 fingers, sometimes 1 finger. In this case, just 1 finger will swipe up and down, and that'll help you kind of navigate around. And it'll swipe up and down over, as long as you're hovering over the window. So if you have like 2 windows open, boop. Let's say I've got another window open here, and then I'm scrolling up and down over this one, and then I move over here, scroll over down, up and down over this one. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Let's close this stuff out, and let's move on. In our class, a lot of times you have to rename something, and let me open up a file to rename. So let's say I want to rename this log here. There's some fancy way to double click on it, you know, but sometimes it doesn't work. So what I like to do is highlight the file, hit the Enter key, and that'll allow you to rename the file. Okay. So that's kind of important. Let's talk about finding things on the Mac. So for instance, App Store. Like I don't know. What if I forget what the App Store looks like down here? Here it is down here. But what if I forget, or what if it's not even there? And I know I have the App Store on my computer. Here, let me demonstrate. The App Store is on my computer somewhere, and I don't want to open up applications and click on it this way and da. So you can go to the magnifying glass up here. Boop. And that's called Spotlight Search. And it'll search your whole computer for stuff. In this case, I know it's called the App Store, so I'm going to type in app. And there it is, App Store. The top hit. So what you can do is just click on that, and that'll kind of quickly launch the App Store for you. Now in the App Store, if you're familiar with Windows, you're like, where's Microsoft PowerPoint, and where's Excel, and where's Word? You can do that. You can download that for the Mac as well. But I should just mention that Apple has this thing called Pages, and Pages is equivalent to Microsoft Word, and Apple has this thing called Numbers, and that's like equivalent to Excel, and then Keynote, and that's equal to PowerPoint. I mean, I use Google Sheets anyways, just on Google Drive, but that's just me. So that's an option there. If you're crazy about shortcuts, there's all kinds of shortcuts, but the most important ones are probably that you need to know is Command C is to copy, Command V is to paste, Command X is to cut. Here, let me demonstrate this. So let's say here, so I have some text, right? So you could highlight this text, Command C copies, and you'll see it. Actually, you can also copy up here, copy, and then Command V will paste. Okay. Now, if you want to some text here. Now, if you want to cut this text out and paste it down here, Command X will cut it and also copy it to the buffer so you can paste it down there. It's kind of a nice one. And what are their shortcuts? Command Tab, and you hold down, you keep holding down Command button. So I'm holding the Command button and I'm just hitting the Tab button, and that's to shift between applications. Let's say you want to delete something on a Mac. I'm going to move my window over here, like this screenshot here. This is garbage. I want to get rid of it. You click on it and drag it to the trash, and then just let go. Boop. And that puts it in the trash. Right click, empty trash. And are you sure? Sure. So that deletes everything from the trash bin. I actually had a bunch in the trash, so it might take a moment. What else can I tell you? Let's say you want to create. So I'm going to open up Microsoft Word here. I was just talking about how I don't use it, but here it is. You'll see when an app is bouncing, that usually means it's loading or thinking or whatnot, or it requires attention. So sometimes if like something's bouncing on your screen, you click on it down here while it's bouncing, and it might be like asking you to acknowledge something. And let's say I've got this file, and I want to save it. Now, if you try to close out of an application, it'll ask you to save first, so that's kind of a nice feature. But let's say you are in this application, you're like, oh, this is really important, I want to save it. So go to File, Save. You'll see, like, if you click away from the screen, then it turns back to the Apple menu up here. But this top menu always modifies or changes based on what is selected in the foreground. That's also important. File, Save. Okay, so I want to save this file. It's going to bring up, for you, it might bring up this window here, right? And you're like, well, I want to save it somewhere specific, but it doesn't give me the option to save it somewhere specific here. And I can select just, documents or desktop, but I want to save it somewhere specific. Okay, click this little down arrow here, boop, and then you've got your full Finder window here to save things to wherever you want. Okay, so you can navigate through desktop, and say you want to put it in this folder here, click the save button, it throws it there. Okay. Don't save. On a Mac, Safari is the default browser, but you can also install Google Chrome if you go to the App Store and search for Google Chrome. But, they work just like any other browser. Let's go ahead and open up Safari, just take a look. Yeah, maximize, minimize, close. Here's your place you put the URL, hit the Enter key, Google, you got this. Close that out. And you'll see it didn't close it because I didn't quit it properly. So I'm going to go here to Safari, quit Safari. Now it's not taking up resources. And so up here in the Apple menu, I'm going to click on the wallpaper here. And up here in the Apple menu, we went through About This Mac System Preferences App Store. All important stuff. Recent items, I never use that. Force quit. So there's a way to force quit certain applications if they're not closing for you. It's not common, you have to do that. But there is sleep. So if you want your computer to go to sleep, do that. Restart it this way. Just shut it down as this one. And lock screen is good. So lock screen, if you lock the screen, then it'll ask you for a password to get back in. And log out. If you have a computer that has multiple users, you can log out of your user account there. All super important stuff. There's another thing I like to show, which is this. If you go to System Preference here, then in this one here, it's called Mission Control. Click on that one. And then down here, there's this thing called Hot Corners. So if you click Hot Corners, you can assign certain commands to the corner of your screen. So when you scroll your mouse all the way down, upper corner, top, bottom corner, whatever corner you want, so in this case it'd be the bottom right corner, then you can lock the screen or put the display to sleep. I like the lock screen in the bottom right corner, because then when I'm done, I just go to the bottom right corner, it locks the screen, you need a password to get back in. Pretty handy. I'm not going to set that right now because I don't want to accidentally end the recording. So I'm just going to close this out for now. Maybe I'll set that a little later. I think that's everything that I wanted to show you for, a basic overview. So hopefully this helps you get started with the Mac. If you have any questions, comments, just leave them down below in this video and I'll do my best to answer them. Please like and subscribe. Cracking Code with Dave. And we'll catch you later. Everyone be safe out there. Bye-bye.